Soothing and healing are opposite processes, which means you can meditate, regulate your nervous system, feel calmer every single day, and still never get to the root of what actually needs to heal. I see this constantly in my trauma therapy practice, and it comes down to 3 states that feel almost identical from the inside and yet lead to very different outcomes. In this video, I'll show you how to tell them apart and the one you need to be wary of. Because there are 2 different kinds of calm, coming from 2 very different kinds of soothing. To start, let me show you what soothing is actually for. Because, of course, it's not the enemy. And let me share an example with you so that this becomes a little bit more easy to understand. When I go home to my children after a day of sitting with clients and guiding them in their healing process, I want to be present for them. I want my heart to be open for them and have the capacity to sit with their emotions, to listen to their stories, and to really be there for them. And when my nervous system is dysregulated, then I soothe my system. And it might be with journaling, it might be with meditation, it might be simply laying down for 10 minutes without doing anything. It might be listening to a certain song. It really depends on the moment and what my system actually needs. And this is a soothing that teaches safety to your body. It's a way to show it that everything is okay when it might not feel like that. But here's where it gets tricky, because there's a second kind of calm that looks very similar and it can even use the same tools. But instead of bringing you back to your life, it's taking you out of it. And most people cannot tell the difference. For years, I couldn't either. And I'll stick with my kids' example. There are evenings where everything looks just right. I'm calm, I am present, I am doing all the right things, and yet I can feel the energy is coming from a different place. And it's not a loving, connected energy. It's a cold, distant energy. It's a managing energy. It's something in me that learned how a good mother should be, should behave, should talk. And it does its very best to play the role, to be as close as possible to that should. But in reality, it's a performing of being connected and present, while I'm not. And that's the second state. It also brings us to a place of calm, but it's a disconnected place of calm. You do feel calm, but you are distant, both from your own heart and from your loved ones. And it can feel like a very comfortable and safe place to inhabit. It protects you from the anxiety, from the outside or from the too muchness of it all. And yet, it's a form of dissociation. It's your autopilot taking over. And dissociation has such a bad reputation it doesn't deserve, because it comes from a place of deep love. It is what brought us into a peaceful, calm and safe place when we were very, very little and our environment didn't feel safe. When there was literally nowhere to go. Something in us created this cozy place inside where we could be and where we could feel safe. So how do you tell these 2 apart when both of them feel like calm? And the difference is in the connection or the lack of it. With soothing, you land more deeply in your life. You can feel your body, you can feel the person in front of you, and you feel open and curious. There is an awareness about you and the others. While with dissociation, it's like watching your life through a closed window. You can see through it, but you cannot open it, and you just cannot feel through it. So now we have the calm that settles you and the calm that distances you. And they're not the same. And that is the third state. The real reason why so many people who are doing everything right still feel stuck. Healing is a fundamentally different process than soothing. Even the soothing that teaches safety to your body. When something is too much for us, especially when we're little, we don't process it. We take it and we close it in a room because that's the only thing that we have the capacity to do. And it doesn't even work at the conscious level. It just happens. And sometimes we completely forget that it ever happened, especially if it was very intense, destabilizing, confusing, or just too much. Often, it's not even the event that is closed in the room. It's the felt sense of it, how it felt in our body while it was happening. And this works really well. We lock things up in rooms we forget about so that our inner house doesn't fall apart. Healing is going towards the pain, towards the nightmares that hide in those rooms, towards the ugly that once upon a time happened to us. And that's why soothing and healing are opposite processes. One moves away from the pain so that you can function, and the other moves towards it so that it can finally be felt in all its intensity and finally reprocessed so that things that you meet in your life, things that happen, interactions with other people, stop being so incredibly triggering. And this is exactly how calm keeps you stuck. If every practice you own is a way of moving away, settling, quieting, floating above, the rooms stay locked and inaccessible. And you can meditate for 10 years next to a locked door and nothing behind it will fundamentally change in any possible way. So what do you do about it? And I'd like to leave you with 3 things. First of all, find and keep your calm. You will need it. Going towards anything requires a settled enough system to come back to yourself, to the connection with yourself and your loved ones. So finding the right tools for you to find your calm in daily life. Not the dissociating kind, ideally, even though it's really good to be aware of those as well, but the calm that keeps you connected. It's really important. I call it resourcing and the capacity to be then with the intensity of healing. And second, start smaller than you think. Going towards doesn't mean diving into your worst memory. And many people don't realize how much they're pushing to break through and get through, which just increases resistance. It is as little as staying with something that hurts for 1 more second. It's the curiosity behind the question, what is this? Instead of reaching for your phone or some other distraction. It's finding where it lives in your body and breathing through it. It's learning to sit with it a tiny bit more every time. And third, and I say this as a therapist who still does her own therapy, some doors are not meant to be opened alone. The quintessence of trauma is that you were alone with something overwhelming and unbearable. And there is a lot I can work with by myself, and there are times when there is too much entangled together and I cannot create enough space inside, or in which simply enough I need not to feel alone in it, and my own resources, my own capacity is not enough. Then I need the holding of someone else, someone who can be there with me so that I can trust the process and allow whatever comes, knowing that I'm not alone. Most trauma happened because you were overwhelmed and alone. And it can only truly heal in the corrective experience of being held and guided and not alone this time around. So this is the question to take with you. Next time you find yourself in calm, be curious about it and notice. Is this calm bringing you closer to yourself or further away? And whenever you feel one of those locked doors calling you, only to find nothing, in the next video I'll show you what that nothing actually is, why it has no words, and how to actually be with it. so that what's underneath is gonna be revealed. So subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss it. And if you feel like it, share in the comments what are the tools that you use to being calm in your daily life.